was no wonder the ladies of their father's court swooned at the slightest attention from him. Falcon had a magical way about him. He could literally charm the birds from the trees with his name gift, controlling any feathered creature on a whim. And the weather gift inherent in his royal Summerlander blood was stronger than it had been in any crown prince in generations. It was as if the sun itself had taken up residence in his soul, and its warmth spilled from him each time he smiled. Kham took a deep breath. Birds weren't the only creatures susceptible to Falcon's charm. In the face of his warm smile, the sharp edge of her temper abated, and in the skies the gathering storm began to calm. Perhaps King Verdon truly had chosen to send his only son as envoy to Wintercraig for political reasons. Long, long ago, as a small child crying herself to sleep, she decided Falcon was the reincarnation of Roland Triumphant, the hero of Summerlea, the brave king who had defeated an overwhelming invasion force with his wit, his weather gifts, and a legendary sword reputed to be a gift from the sun god himself. If anyone could coax the cold, savage folk of the north into concessions most favorable to Summerlea, Falcon could. "Will you at least write to me?" she asked. "I'll send you a bird every week." He tapped her nose and gave her a roguish grin. "Cheer up. Just think of all the sword fights you'll win when you're fighting invisible opponents instead of me." Kham rolled her eyes. He'd been teaching her sword fighting for years, but she had yet to best him in a match. "You know," she said, as they walked towards the doorway leading back into the palace, "it might actually be a good thing that you'll be spending months in Wintercraig." "Oh?" "Yes, you can use that time to find out what happened to Roland's sword." Falcon tripped on an uneven flagstone and grabbed the trunk of a nearby tree to steady himself. "I'm sure I'll be much too busy to chase fairy tales, Storm." She frowned in surprise. "But you've always believed the stories were true." Blazing, the legendary sword of Roland Soldius had disappeared shortly after the heroic king's death. Legend claimed it was the Winter King, the father of Roland's betrothed, who had spirited the sword away, but that one day Roland's true heir would reclaim it. Every royal Summerlea prince for the last 2 millennia had dreamed of finding the legendary blade and bringing it back home where it belonged. Falcon had spent years chasing lead after lead, determined that he would be the one to find Blazing and restore Summerlea to its former glory. "What about those letters?" she added. "The really old ones you found tucked in that monastery. You said they proved the stories were true." "That was 6 years ago. I was 17. I wanted the stories to be true." He gave her a quick hug and a brotherly kiss on the forehead. "I've got to run. I'm meeting with Father and his advisors to go over our list of demands and concessions one last time before I leave. I'll see you in a few months." "I'll miss you every day." She trailed after him, feeling bereft and forlorn, when Falcon turned the corner and disappeared from view. But this time, she also felt confused. She'd never known Falcon to give up on something he felt passionately about, and he'd been passionate about finding Roland's sword. He'd been certain he was on the right trail, and certain he was Roland's true heir. He'd shared his discoveries with her because he knew she was just as hungry as he to find the legendary sword. So why would he deny it now? Gildenheim, Wintercraig. "She's not good for you." Wynter Atrialan, king of Wintercraig, cast a sideways glance at his younger brother. "Don't say that, Garrick. I know you've never liked Elka, but in 6 months' time, she will be my bride and your queen." Garrick shook his long snow-silver hair, eyes as bright and blue as the glacier caves in Wintercraig's icebound Scoa Mountains, shone with solemn intensity that made the boy look far older than his 15 years. "You love too deeply, Vin. From the moment you decided to take her to wife, you've blinded yourself to her true nature." Wynter sighed. "I should not have shared my worries with